And good morning and happy Memorial Day. Hope you're doing fantastic. I wanted to start with just saying thank you to every generation who has fought for freedom. Some of them made the ultimate sacrifice, including members, I'm sure, everyone's families. There's nothing that's, I think dearer than to do that, to obviously fight for freedom, but also to sacrifice to do that. Always remember that freedom is never free. Someone paid that price. So that's how I wanted to start the show today. In terms of generations, it's interesting as you look at the breakdown by generation, and it's actually kind of surprising. So who wants to guess on the biggest generation in terms of numbers? Anybody?
Baby boomers.
No, baby boomers, unfortunately, are not the biggest generation. Guess again. Anybody else?
Millennials.
Millennials are the number one generation right now by population. That number, in case you didn't know, is 74.1 million in the U.S. market. Who's number two?
We are Gen X.
No, the next biggest generation, which probably is going to put people's nose out of joint a little bit as they come closer to the population of millennials, is Gen Z. Gen Z is at 71.2 million. Number three by population actually is the baby boomers, and Gen X are quite close. So Generation X, let me just see if my math is correct. I think it is, but let me just double check. So Generation X is 65.4 million, and baby boomers are 64.5. So they're very, very close by generation. And if you're not a member of the Generation X, I would have thought that Generation X was bigger than baby boomers, and probably will be eventually. But it's actually surprising how close they are, because Generation X I always found is a generation that's pretty quiet. They don't really say much. They kind of just sort of like fade into the hedges. But let's start with introductions this morning. And of course, if you have a thought on Memorial Day, feel free to share that. I'm going to start with, let's see, who should we start with today? Well, why don't we start with Nicole, just because she's the only lady on the panel. So Nicole, tell us a little bit more about you, and what do you think, what's going to change as new generations arrive? We were talking about alpha and beta. Beta will be the next generation, in case you didn't know. What do you think is going to change as the millennials and baby boomers and Gen X sort of decline and everything else increases? What do you think?
Good question. I mean, I think the next generation of employees, customers, all intertwined, are all coming kind of at the same time, right? So I think that it's definitely going to be not a lot of resistance, kind of the same, right? Smooth sailing, but everything that's kind of been brought to the surface of the last 5 years is kind of, I think, gonna idle, and we're gonna hopefully shift into some different open perspectives, right? But I think that the generation of employees and buyers and all of us are all kind of arriving at the same time here.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. Mr. Walsman, what do you think? Introduce yourself. Any thoughts and generations?
Yeah, my name is Dave Walsman. I'm with Lisa Video Solutions. I'm the VP of Sales. I did want to also, like Ian did, thank our veterans. My grandfather was a World War II veteran. My father was a Vietnam veteran. And so I'm just super grateful for the things that they taught me, the people that they were, and the example that they set for me. So I'd like to just thank all the military members. As far as where this is going, it is an interesting question. My kids are grown, Ian, and they all got their driver's license and are driving around. You talk about, what's coming next for me, it'll be grandkids. And I wonder what that will look like. I wonder if my grandkids will have driver's licenses, you know, or if it'll just be a hobby, you know, like horseback riding and like bicycle riding. These were legitimate forms of transportation, and now they're hobbies. And so I wonder where we are going. But I'm really grateful for this podcast, because I think there's a real disconnect in the way that we merchandise our vehicles and the way we try to reach our consumers in the way that they're shopping.
100%. I've been looking a lot at different areas, and we were talking before the show a little bit about Amazon. We did a show a while ago about Amazon or not, and Amazon had some interesting thought processes. But when you look at your average dealer website, including big platforms like AutoTrader and others, I mean, why they're not using more video when video is really how people communicate today to merchandise vehicles is a little shocking to me. I mean, we were talking a little bit about Shorts, which is a YouTube format similar to TikTok. The attention span being 1 to 3 minutes. Why would you expect people to go through 30 pictures? Like, they're probably not going to do that, especially if the video is an option. It's kind of like the Cole's Notes of communication, I guess you could call it. But Larry, I know you're a real new school communication guy, and you're a historian, so maybe you have some thoughts on Memorial Day. But also, what's your thought on generations?
Well, you know, it's interesting because we seem to be a little more disconnected than I think most people would prefer us to be. I mean, we're 20. This will be the 25th anniversary in September of 9/11, and yet we don't quite seem to grasp, the people that are younger than us, you know, what it is. It's not like we're talking about when the United States was founded in 1776. You're going back 250 years. It'd be a little easier to be a little foggier on that, but it seems like we're very much into what's happening right this second. As a couple of you mentioned already, short attention spans, and maybe not as focused on our history, even our recent history. And they're right, it's the old saying, those that forget history are doomed to repeat it. So kind of like Dave said, it's going to be kind of interesting, because Dave, you were probably like me. I couldn't wait to get my driver's license. I couldn't wait. Yeah, and couldn't wait to have my own car. And when you think about it, it's less of a priority with Uber and all those methods of getting around. On the other hand, a lot of human behavior is cyclical. If you look 3 years ago, the amount of people seeking religion was really down, and now you're starting to see a huge uptick in the United States on that. So it's a little hard to predict exactly where we're going to go, but it certainly seems like we're moving in a lot of strange directions if you looked at where human behavior was 10, 20, 30 years ago. So like Dave, I'm just sitting back and observing it all and trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And as far as dealers not using more video, I think maybe some of you will agree with me. A lot of dealers make money in spite of themselves, not because of how smart or how dialed in they are. It's almost like by accident. But Dave, if it makes you feel any better, scary as this is, Nicole, I just left a very successful dealership, and one of the top guys, I said, "Oh, here, you're doing great. How much social media you doing?" "None." "Why not?" "Well, I know I could do it, but I just don't get around to it." So Nicole, I always use the same quote from my hero Einstein. They asked him the difference between genius and stupidity, and he says, "Genius has its limits, but there doesn't seem to be any cap on stupidity."
100%. Thanks for that, Larry. Kyle, what do you think?
Hi, I'm Kyle. I'm the founder of Tap to Sign, e-signing for dealers. And first of all, happy Memorial Day. We are so grateful for the freedoms we have, and we recognize, just like you said, it's not free, and many made many sacrifices, including their lives for our freedom. So we recognize and respect and honor that sacrifice. What do I think as new generations arrive? So I'm a millennial. I barely made the cutoff. I think we're seeing a shift in expectation. Amazon, you mentioned, Amazon has trained us to the instant one-click purchase, and we love it, right? We love the quickness of of that interaction, and transactions don't have to be long. I think we're seeing, doing some stat research, 80% of buyers want to complete more steps from home. We have 60% of millennials say they prefer to complete the purchase online if they could, and 1 in 2 Gen Z said that they bought a vehicle online. So I thought that was a pretty amazing metric. We're seeing a greater shift towards online, and I think that expectation of frictionless transactions is an expectation that our consumers are seeing.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. I agree 100%. I mean, I remember in the early days of the pandemic, everyone was like, digital retail. And then it suddenly went, woo. So we'll see how that goes. But I think to your point with Amazon, I mean, everyone was scared initially when they showed up pre-NADA off-site. And now that they're at NADA, it's interesting to see this shift. But Jason, I know we were talking a little bit about Amazon autos and Amazon in general before the show. What's your opinion on generations and how that's going to change things?
That's a good point that you guys all bring up on Amazon. What I'm seeing in automotive right now is pretty simple. The customer has changed faster than the dealership process has, and we need to catch up. Young buyers are walking in more educated, more skeptical, more influenced by video, reviews, social proof, and speed. So, I mean, they trust that UGC content creator that's 18 years old recording from their bedroom more than they trust the dealer right now. And we need to, bring that all together and show them how they can trust us as well.
Yeah, I mean, we had a show, I think it was last week, on secrets of car salespeople, and 2 of the car salespeople we had on, one sells Toyotas, the other one sells Cadillacs. They both do a massive amount of video to the point where one of them, I think she gets 90 or 100% of her business from her video posts. And the other gentleman, George from a Toyota store, he not only helps his local community, he sells cars using it. But what was really interesting that I saw on the weekend was that people now trust the car salesperson more than the dealership in terms of they buy because of that car salesperson and their reputation. And that is obviously driven online. But what was really interesting, as you talk to both of them on video, is they're both like, yeah, we just decided to do video at scale. And they do it in different ways, but both of them have the same result, which is more car sales with more visibility. Now, if the dealer did that, but more importantly, both salespeople, to your point, Larry, did that, they probably touch more generations, even if they're of an older generation. That doesn't mean they can't connect with a millennial or a Gen Z or an alpha. So I think you're going to see a lot more people, even though they consume a lot of video before they come in or look at the internet, they're going to want it, sum it up for me, right? Like, tell me why. Yeah.
And you said something interesting. You said that the respect or the trust with the salesperson is more prevalent with the dealer. I'll hold forth that was always the case. I was the top salesman at my dealership before I wound up owning it. And you go into any dealership and there's a top guy or girl that's outselling everybody else. So it always came down to your individual effort and how you marketed yourself and how you treated your customers. That's why to not be on video, to not spread the message of, we're at the Bible here. Hide not your light under a bushel, and not you'll see your light. If you really are trustworthy and you are friendly and you are likable, how the hell would you not want to advertise that to as many people as possible?
Oh, 100%. So why do you think the dealers are hiding under the rock, or they're in the secret service and they don't want to share with like what they're doing in their community or what they're doing with customers? Like, why do you think that is?
I think it's just a matter of not having the foresight to realize that the more information you get out, the better. You don't see a reluctance in 20 groups. I've been to a ton.
Oh, we lost you. Oh, he's going to come back.
Yeah.
I think,
Let me jump in for a second.
go ahead.
One of the things that you all mentioned, but I think it's one of the things that the dealers are missing. And I know we've got a lot of dealers. I'm looking at all the people on the show, which I'm kind of surprised. For Memorial Day, we've got a lot of people tuned in. And I know a lot of dealers on there. But the one point I want that all the dealers watching this to pick up is there's salespeople out there, like the one lady Ian mentioned from last week. They're out there doing this already. They're the successful ones out there. If you're not embracing this at the dealership level and supporting your staff and your team and giving them the tools and helping them do this, you're making a huge mistake. The other piece that I want to point out, I want you to think about this for a second. you need to have some engagement with that, because what's happening now is these salespeople are building their own personal market, their own personal base. If they decide to leave you someday, guess what? They're taking all of that customer base with them. I was talking with Jason the other day, and he showed me a YouTuber, I think it was, and this guy just does these little videos about cars. He doesn't bother the car dealership. But Jason, how many followers does that kid have that you were showing me the other day? 2.8 million or something?
1.8 million, but he's got more interactions and stuff online than any of the others combined. And all he does is walk around and do cool walkarounds on cars.
Yeah. I think this is where the real disconnect is that we started talking about earlier is, especially with Gen Z, I was doing a lot of research on their buying habits, and 75% of Gen Z start their research on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, right? So they're doing all of their research in a video format. This is where they're selecting before they start doing all the price and, comparisons, they do all their research in a video format. And then we send them to the dealer website and AutoTrader and Car Gurus. And how many of these people have actual video format in the same way that they research the car, right?
Yeah.
And so we're saying, okay, this is how I found the car. This is how I chose the car. Now I'm having to go backwards in time 20 years to look at static photos. And then we wonder why dealer website time per session has been going down for a very long time. We wonder why conversion rate is down on the website. And it's because they're not advertising their vehicles in a way that, that consumers are researching the vehicles.
Well, think about it from a used car perspective. I'm looking at 5 used cars that are basically similar. I mean, similar year, similar mileage, similar whatever. If one stands out where I can actually see the vehicle in a video format, Dave, obviously I'm going to be more likely to take a closer look at that, especially if, I can really make a comparison where I can see more remotely, right? Hey, Larry, you're back.
Yeah, I believe it or not, even on Memorial Day, I'm working a deal, and I just had to throw some input in there. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. So, Mr. Larry.
Going back to what Dave was saying for a second. Think about this. You're looking at you're selling a car. If we don't give the salespeople the tools, these communication tools, where they can actually be sending out the videos, but they're coming out from the dealership, we're making a huge mistake, because the salespeople are going to do it themselves. They're going to be sending these messages. And again, they're building that relationship. I believe, from my personal experience, I think the dealership should be more involved in helping the salespeople use those tools. So now what happens is they're the conduit between the customer and the salesperson, but it still comes back to the dealership. It's tied back to the dealership's website. So the dealership's website is getting the traffic, because, you don't want to have these people out there doing this where they're building this up, because we've seen several different people at different stores where they get these great followings and they just decide to move. And they now are at another store and they're bringing their whole audience with them. So the dealers have got to start waking up to the importance of video and start utilizing it in a proper, organized fashion.
Hey, Peter, not only are you 100% right from that aspect, but with the FTC looking down everybody's neck, you got to make sure the information that people are putting out is in line with what you're putting out, or you could really create a hell of a problem for yourself.
100%.
Yeah, Peter, do you think they know how? Do you think that's the biggest disconnect, is they don't know how to get their cars online with video? Why do you think they're not doing it?
I might be able to answer that. I really think that a lot of these dealers nowadays, the Gen X dealers that are the dealer principals and the GMs and stuff like that, they think that digital means getting rid of the human connection. When in reality, Gen Z wants that human connection. These leads are getting submitted by ChatGPT, not a human. They just want to see where you pick up all the research that they've done. They've already done the content. They've already reviewed everything. They've already talked to their friends. They've done all these things. They're not trying to go online and buy the car online. They're going online to be verified with that human connection and actually talk to someone and say, hey, this is what I found. This is what I'm looking at. This is what education I have. What can you do with it? And they want to be verified in every step of the way. We need to stop thinking that digital means to get rid of the human connection. They want more human connection nowadays. And they're getting away from the AI aspect. They're using AI to get all the work done. Then they want to be able to hand it off to a human to actually transact.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about, and I wasn't at a SodaCon, but we talked a little bit about, I guess there was a presenter who basically was using AI bots to compare dealer versus dealer, and then someone took down the whole thing. But at the end of the day, like, people still have questions, and that expert or that car salesperson, is probably still best suited to answer those questions, especially if they're comparing experiences. From a lead. I know we were talking a little bit about lead response in the past, but Nicole, what do you think? I mean, what have you seen out there?
I think the customer today and our future customers want to be supported more than sold to, right? They've already made their decision up. They've already researched it. They know what they want. They just want people. Maybe a new perspective, or did you see this? But they don't need to be sold to anymore. And no amount of technology is going to replace bad culture, or somebody that doesn't greet you when you walk into your store, or a dirty, gross snack station, or like whatever it is at our stores, right? So I think dealerships that are removing the resistance of change and the resistance in general are winning. Just that's my bottom line. And that I see dealers all week long, every day we're going in to visit, and I can tell when a dealership is resisting change and growth and technology and all of the things, and everybody's heads just down and calling leads. And I can see the dealerships and the stores that are out on the lot and taking selfie videos and interacting with their customers and all of those things. And it's a big difference in energy. And I think that's a lot right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a dealer, I think it's a Toyota dealer, where the dealer principal, she does a feature video almost every day of features on a Toyota product.
Yeah, Amanda Gojo, I think, who you're referring to. Yep.
Yeah.
And they're out on TikTok and Instagram, and those are the things we're looking at our downtime, or we're hearing in the background, and we're picking up on those things constantly. So dealers that are resisting trying those things, even if they're failing, right? They're still trying and getting out there. I think the ones that are going with that and stopping the resistance are winning for sure.
Yeah, there was
Nicole, they've got to be a hybrid. They've got to be willing to try everything new, but they've got to be willing to emphasize that we want to use technology as a tool, not a crutch. And I'll give you an example that's so old school, I'm going to sound like a dinosaur. How about when you walk into a dealership and the receptionist is friendly and say, "Hey, welcome to so-and-so." Yeah. In 2 seconds, you feel turned on.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm gonna throw Jason on the spotlight for a second. Jason not only is an ex-dealer, but he's also a big social influencer. Jason, from your experience, what do you think is the best platform? Because there's a lot of platforms out there. We got TikTok, we got YouTube. What do you think is the best platform? If I'm a dealer and I'm looking to get involved with this, what's my best platform to start encouraging my people to be promoting on? Or should they be promoting on all of them?
The answer is yes. Everyone has their favorite channels. My dad watches YouTube every single day, just nonstop. He thinks it's the greatest TV that's ever existed. He's older, obviously, but he really thinks that it's a TV, like a channel that he used to watch when he was a kid. Instagram, that's my go-to source. I get people texting me and messaging me on Facebook all the time. I just don't like Facebook. And it doesn't mean that I'm not part of that generation or anything like that. It just means I don't like interfacing on Facebook. TikTok Shop, that's another one. I'm not on TikTok Shop, but there's billions of dollars generated every single day on TikTok Shop. So it just says you need to be everywhere. That is your personal brand. Your personal brand is your face, and you need to get it out there to the masses. Get it out to everyone. You need to be in their phone. You need to be on their computer. You need to be on their TV. You need to be everywhere, because they want to trust this before they trust this. You can't just sit there and talk and call them and everything. I was talking to a buddy the other day, and he made a really good point really quick. He said, walk into two dealerships. You walk into one, and there's not really too many salespeople on the phone, but you see them against the back wall making phone calls. You walk into dealership two, and there's salespeople all over the lot doing selfie videos, walking around cars and interfacing with customers and stuff. Which one do you think is more successful?
Oh, 100%.
It's a valid question. And I was like, I never really thought of it that way. But I'll take that dealership that's recording on the lot all day long before the ones that are on the phones trying to meet their minimum 100 phone calls per day quota that they have to do. It's old school thinking. It doesn't work that way.
Jason, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What percentage, because there's two categories here, right? There's the salesman promoting themselves, and then there's the dealership promoting their inventory, right? Mm-hmm. I think we do a good job well, I think we're getting better at the salesmen promoting themselves. How many dealerships do you think have inventory on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, actually have inventory there?
That's a great question. We had this similar question pop up last week, and they don't really want to see the inventory. They don't want to see ads about the can of soda or the widget that you can buy on Amazon or anything like that. They want to see the face relating to that product. And the guy that we were talking about, he's like, what if we did something like this? You go on the dealer website, and then, you look a couple images of the car, and then all of a sudden, like a UGC content creator that's famous on Instagram jumps on there and says, hey, did you know that this vehicle gets 32 miles to the gallon and has a payload capacity of X? And then you go to the next one. There's a short little 5-second clips every third picture. I don't see any dealers doing that right now, but it brings two platforms together. One, the social media aspect, and two, the dealer website. Now they're blended. I don't think dealers should just go blast their inventory online. What they should blast is their people.
Well, yeah, I mean, you think about it, years ago, they had like an athlete.
Let me counter that, Ian, because we have a ton of dealers posting the inventory on Facebook, along with their salesman stuff, along with their creative stuff, along with, I was taught at Auto Trader a long time ago, and I know, but the car is the star. And I will tell you, from our dealer sites that have inventory and then also have salesman stuff, the inventory videos outperform the salesman videos. And not only that, Jason, these videos are indexed in Google, right? So I don't know how many people might search Jason Scott Instagram, but I know a lot of people search 2026, BMW X5 Los Angeles. I know a lot of people do those searches. And so, I agree that we have to build two forms of trust. We have to build trust in the vehicle, which dealerships, I think, do a terrible job with that because their websites are all static. And then we have to create trust in our salesmen themselves. And I think the social media does that. But I will tell you, on our channels, our inventory videos are outperforming the salesman videos head to head by far. And I think it's both. I think we need to build trust in the inventory and in the salesman. But salesman videos are harder to search for, right? They come much more organically, right, through subscriber count. But when you're doing Google searches and Bing searches and any kind of other search that you do, a lot of these inventory videos are indexable, whereas salesman videos really aren't.
Yeah, well, we haven't had Colin for a bit, but I had one comment on that, which is any publicity is not bad. So the way you look at it is more views of anything that's going to draw people to your website and have them interested in your product, your salesman, your store is a good thing. So I think doing a little everything is a good idea.
Before you jump to Kyle, think about how idiotic some of the dealership websites are. I go to a lot of them. Wait a minute, and you hit the About Us, and instead of getting pictures, smiling faces of sales and service, so you immediately feel the connection, you get nothing. You get some gobbledygook about it. So again, if we're not even willing to basically display a damn picture of a person, we're dead. Dave, I've been in the business a long time, and I realized real quickly that if you don't retain people in service, you're dead. I used to make all the service appointments for my customers, and I had a lot of them. And I'm going way back. I took pictures of the things and put a board up, and I said, don't worry, so-and-so's not in at 7 o'clock. He's going to call you in the morning. None of this stuff is complicated. You want to be in front of as many people as possible. You want to smile as much as possible, and you want to give them a short, punchy message, right? I think we all agree if it's too long, you are wrong.
Larry, you know what I've never seen on a dealer website ever? We talk about just photos being the standard. Why in the world would you not put a just 15-second video on every person introducing themselves and how long they've been selling cars?
Or make it easy to contact them. Like I always see this now on websites. They got a picture. If they have a picture of the staff, which they do, sometimes they don't have anything. They're like, you can't call us, you can't email us, you can't do anything. You just gotta call the main number and hope that works out. Like, why wouldn't they have all their Instagram and LinkedIn and everything?
Yeah, what about a 15
on every person? Like, why not?
Yeah.
Listen, the reason Staples let's use Amazon. Everybody hates Amazon in the sense that they put little mom and pop stores out of business. But why do we all use them? Because when you really need something, you hit a button the next day or the day after it's at your door. We have to make things easy. Dave, you don't know me. I've known Ian for a few years, and he's got me a ton of business. And he doesn't tell people that I'm handsome, although Nicole will readily agree that I am. That I'm crazy, which you've all ascertained.
Video proof that you're not, Larry.
Yeah,
Come on.
But it's perception versus reality. Jason, straighten his butt out after we're off the show. But what Ian always told people was, call Larry, he answers his phone. I've actually had people call me and go, son of a gun, you answered your phone. There's nothing special about me. It's just we're in a world of idiots where everybody has a cell phone and nobody answers their phone. Well, it might be spam. Yeah, it might be the lottery commission too. You still have the hang up button on your phone. So once we start narrowing communication in any way, shape, or form, we're hurting ourselves. And if you think about how many ways you can get to people, a text, a video, anyway, and you can't get anybody to talk. I didn't mean to interrupt, Kyle, but it's a sore spot with me because if you call me, you get me. And the people I call, it's like, why did you even reach out to me to help you when you won't answer your damn phone?
I got to play some sponsors, so here we go.
If you look at the last 4 years, Ian, we've answered 41 million phone calls for dealers over the last 4 years with our AI platform. We've also handled over 150 million text messages. And so when you look at just those raw numbers, that's a 4-to-1, 3.5, 4-to-1 text to phone call. So I don't know. Here's what I can tell you, though. I believe that the customer wants to be met where they are presently. If that is text, voice, video call, if they want to be engaged and engaged instantly.
I'm Vince Delmonico, General Sales Manager with Cruise Ford Lincoln. Larry Feldman came out and did one of our training courses. Absolutely incredible. I sat through the course myself. The engagement that our salespeople gained from it, the excitement that he brings, it was a new way of looking at things that we're already doing and how we can improve them. Love it. It's literally the best thing since sliced bread.
My name's Fareed Ahmed. I'm the founder and CEO of DSMA. So why should you use DSMA to sell your most valuable asset? The answer is very simple. It's our unparalleled approach to our clients' needs and satisfaction. Remember, DSMA, we're real people doing real deals.
Meta, Instagram, social, and your team is still waiting for ups like it's 1999. Let's be honest. Your market isn't watching TV commercials. They're double tapping and engaging with your competitors on social media posts. People are shopping these days for cars and servicing their vehicles in between watching cat videos.
All right. So without further ado, Kyle, what do you think?
I really love the sentiment that we've been sharing. And I think Jason kind of hit the nail on the head with human connection. I think people crave human connection. I think people buy from people. And you look at the speed of trust when you have an experienced person, guiding you and carrying you through that process. I like what Larry said about a warm welcome when someone, comes into the dealership. I think dealers are have a unique position to where we can bring in that warm in-person feel or live human connection coupled with the technology. When I mentioned Amazon and the one-click experience earlier, that wasn't to replace what the experience we have now, but to supplement. So I think any tool a dealer can bring in to help automate that process to make a frictionless transaction, but still have the human connection. I think that's where we're poised to be, any other type of industry, because we care about our car buyers. We care about the experience. We'll bring all the wonderful tools in to make, e-signing or, video or get them their information out or AI, what have you. But at the end of the day, it's people buying from people, and we're here to serve our end user, serve our customer. And they'll know if we care. They'll know by how they're welcome. They'll know by the tools that we provide them. So I love it. I think we're in a great position to really explode in this software that's out has made us better able to serve our end users.
Fantastic. Peter, what do you think won't change?
Well, I think what's not going to change is there's going to be a segment of the dealers that just don't care. They're going to stick their head in the sand, and I think they're basically destined for failure. So I think that's not going to change. But I do think that the consumers are really going to gravitate towards, and like everyone's been talking about, it's that personal relationship. The one piece, the one video that we haven't really talked about, which I think is very important, which I do want to mention, testimonials. I believe testimonials is a great way for the dealers to build a relationship. And I still to this day get surprised, like Larry was talking about going to dealers' websites. If I was a dealer today, on my website, when you went to my website, across the bottom, I would have literally video testimonials of my happy customers. I would have them singing my praise. That's the best advertising. But yet, instead of having them on their website, you got to search for them. If I'm going to go do business with a dealership, I want to know who I'm doing business with, number one, and do they take good care of other people? I don't want those fake little written ones, but those video testimonials are so powerful. So, I think that's an important piece we need to talk about as well.
Yeah, I mean, I remember years ago when I sold cars 26 years ago, I had my home phone number on my business card. And people I work with are like, well, why would you want people calling you at home? I said, hey, I want people to call me wherever. Like, I don't care. Like, reach out to me. I want to help you. So, I mean, I think part of the challenge today is, you have to have those 4 or 5 different ways someone can reach out to you. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. What shocks me today, and just take it even outside of auto, even companies selling to auto, I'm a little shocked when I look at them where it's like, there's no phone number. There's no ability to even call this company that maybe wants to do business with another company. And that really shocks me. But what I see most commonly on dealerships' websites is you can't even reach out to a salesperson at a dealership to ask a question. You got to call the main number. Like, why wouldn't every salesman want that everywhere? And more importantly, the dealer. I mean, I'm sure everyone's seen the, ask a dealer, and then it's like a lead form. Like what?
And even on the website, if I'm a dealer and I've got the pictures, underneath the person's name should be their phone number, their email address, and all their social media connections. If I want to go, I'm looking at Bob, at the Ford dealership. Hey, you know what? I'm on Facebook. I'm a Facebook guy. I may click to see what he's like on Facebook, see what kind of posts he likes. Maybe I might even want to connect with him. But that all should be there. We are in the world of communication. Everything is social today. Why are we not making it easier for those customers to connect with us online through the dealership's website? Why is it like, it's like, oh no, we can't do that. We can't put a picture of our salespeople up there. Oh, we don't want to have this. I've got clients of mine I do websites for, and I tell them, the most important part of your website is your About Us section, your team section. People want to know who they're doing business with. Yeah. Oh, I don't want my staff on their page. Well, then why are you going to waste the money going to the website? It's not going to have any success for you.
I have a secret team that sells cars.
Yeah.
Or a secret team that services cars.
Yeah.
Peter, let's not be judgmental. Maybe the one you looked up, maybe they're in the witness protection program.
If you call my dealership, you're going to get the lottery of who's going to help you. And frankly, it's probably going to be the person that doesn't sell any cars because he's sitting around waiting to answer the phone call. He's not working with customers. So the chance of you calling the dealership and getting that lottery is the chance you get is the guy that's not selling cars, not the person that knows how.
Oh, 100%. I mean, at the end of the day, you should never make it difficult for people to do business with you. I remember years ago, when I lived in Baltimore, I went to a record store and I was buying a record back when records were a thing, another bag. There's a big, huge thing behind the cashier with every possible credit card that you've ever heard of and things you haven't heard of. And I said to him, what's the deal? He goes, oh, never make it difficult for people to pay. And I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. So never make it difficult for people to actually communicate with you, to ask questions that might turn into revenue. What a shocking idea. Or to get help. I mean, if I bought a car from you and I don't know, I not only did my salesman not ever call me back, I don't even know how to reach out to him. Even if I'm on the website. Oh, okay. How do I reach him? I don't know.
We're doing a podcast for Gen Z, and Ian's out here talking about records. Great job connecting.
Yeah, there you go. Records are back, I hear. Maybe 8 tracks are next.
Dorothy, we're going to explain that Paul McCartney was in a band before Wings. We're going real old school today.
My daughter has a record player that she adores.
Yeah, well, you know, who knew they were going to be back again? Who knew?
Yeah.
So, Nicole, what do you think won't change?
What do I think won't change? I kind of agree to the point that dealerships that are stuck in their ways and those old school dealerships, which I love an old school store. I love an old school meet and greet. I love an old school, steps of the sale around objections, right? But I also think that we have to go new school too, right? But I think there are stores that are not going to change. They're not going to treat their employees right. When we kind of led the conversation, I truly believe that the next generation of buyers and all of our next generation of employees are all coming in at the same time. So the dealers that navigate that correctly and offer the right kind of support and tools are going to build the culture that's going to take to thrive, and the rest are going to be who they are. And they don't want to change. You can't make them change.
Yeah, I mean, if people not liking cars is a problem, why not have a car event at your store? That's kind of old school, but there's nothing to say you couldn't have little kids or the next generation of buyers there to check it out. You can even have your customers shockingly bring their own cars.
Old school, get the popcorn machine back out, or do whatever you want to do, but do something.
Yeah.
Because just being stagnant is going to get you nowhere. Yeah.
Nicole, this is an interesting point that you bring up, because all I hear from a lot of my GMs and managers are, oh, we have this generation that doesn't want to work anymore, right? That doesn't want to sell cars, that we have to do all the work for them. But we're not, just like we're not embracing how the customer shops for cars, we're also not embracing how the salesmen want to sell cars.
Yeah,
this is a generation that, wants to be YouTubers. They want to be influencers. Right. They want to connect on social media, and then we hand them a phone and tell them, let's do 100 phone calls, and then we wonder why they hate their job.
It's not that they don't want work. It's that they don't want to be dictated to and do things the old way they don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? But the wheel's changed how much. Yeah. So why are we forcing them to do something that doesn't feel in alignment with who they are? They are not us. And I started in 2008. And so when I'm working with people and training people, they're learning different than I am. And the information I share with them, the tools that I give them, have to be relatable. It's not that they don't work. So they don't want to be 25-year-old or 25-year industry car guys.
Yeah. So
owners and GMs would be terrible sports managers or coaches, because they don't take the time to understand what motivates their team. When I got into business, it was real simple. You went where you could make the most money. Now, I think every dealer should look into offering one Saturday a month off. You'd attract more people, because time and work-life balance means more to some people than it did. When I got in, who was worried about work-life balance when you and me got to business? Saying, where can I make money? Shut up. But if you don't understand what motivates your people, you're never going to. It's like customer salespeople that don't ask questions and, more importantly, listen to their customers. They can't give them what they want and need, because they never found out what they want and need.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing a show on work-life balance in next month, but we're also doing one on AI videos. So it's not just the sales process, the steps to the sale, or to your point, Nicole, and also yours, Kyle, reducing friction. There's more efficient ways to do things, and they're not worse. They're better, actually. It's just that the GM that, threw the keys on top of the building doesn't really get that. And that's not to say that it's a bad idea. It's just that you got to be open-minded. And I think some things won't change. The love of cars, the delivery process, the F&I process, maybe, but a lot of things will. And that's not a bad thing. Like, change is part of life. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we had a question came in from the audience after watching the show. Yeah. I think it's a good one for us to take a little time on. They're asking the panel, if I'm a salesperson, what is the best way for me to start using video? And I think that's a great question. So maybe we go around and ask the panel what they recommend, what their personal recommendation on what platform and how they should start using video. And let's see if we can answer this question for everybody.
So let's start with Jason or Kyle. They haven't been on at all. So go ahead, whichever one wants to.
Yeah, I love this question. It's a very, very good one. Back in the day, I'd always want to send like letters to the neighbors of somebody I sold a car to. As I got more advanced as a dealer, then what I would do is, somebody bought a car in zip code, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would geo-target them to make sure that their friends all knew that they bought a car. Well, nowadays, Ian, you were just talking about records, right? Go ahead and say it again. Guess what's going to pop up on your social media feed tonight? Nothing but records. And we all know that. We all know that these things are listening to us. Some of the people on this panel can't even spell the word algorithm, but I want these younger salespeople to be thinking about this really hard. Algorithm. If you did what Peter said earlier and you did a video testimonial and you did it with that customer, guess what you just did without spending a single penny? You shared it with every single one of their friends, families, and neighbors because the algorithm does it for you now. So if you're not taking advantage of that every single time that you sell a car or even have an interaction with a customer, you're dead in the water. Just think of record. It'll trigger your memory to be like, you know what? Every single time I talk to a customer, I can now talk to every single one of their friends, families, neighbors, the whole 9 yards, just by doing one video, tagging them in it, and interacting with them. So if you want to use video, I'd get hardcore on that because the algorithm is going to fix it for you.
100%. Kyle, what do you think?
So when I sold cars, the hardest thing to do is just to start. So to answer that guy's question, how do I do it? Here's how you do it. You have a phone, you open up your camera app, and you press record, and you start talking. And it's harder than you think at first because you're going to realize, oh, this is how I sound. But I would say hit record. You may take a few takes. Usually the first take is the best, so just go for it. Upload that video to Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and then send a link to your customer. You can do it. Starting is the hardest part.
100%. I mean, when I sold cars, believe it or not, I used a device called a flip cam. And I took videos of cars and I would upload them and download them and do all this stuff. But that was a long time ago. That's probably 20 plus years ago now. So it's possible to do it. But more importantly, you're only going to get good at it with doing it a lot. I think that one of the gentlemen we had on the show, he does videos, but he doesn't do any editing. He does every video as a one-take video. That's all he does. And sometimes it goes well, sometimes not so well, but at the end of the day, he's gotten very good at it. So it doesn't mean that you have to spend a lot of time in an editing suite to get that done. And it doesn't mean you can't have fun with it. I mean, there's a gentleman who sells, I think it's Mercedes-Benz. He's a sales manager, and his whole stick was to go behind the scenes and show the other side. But Andrea, who was on the show, I guess it was a week or so ago, she does videos making fun of old school sales managers with mustaches and crazy stuff. So, I mean, she does stuff that's interesting. And, you got to remember, video is also about entertainment. One of the most watched TikTok videos in automotive is of technicians, not of service writers or salespeople. So you got to look at that. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's an awesome, and I think you're right. Just get started. I remember the first video that I did in lead response, it took me 4 takes, and now they're all one take, but I would also involve video in your lead response as well, because, it does take time to build a following, but you, in the meantime, have a lot of leads just sitting there, people that actually want to buy cars. The lead response, this gets dealers, Larry, you can speak to this. The amount of people that reach out wanting to buy a car and then you never hear from again is so infuriating. And you want to just scream through your computer. You asked me, you reached out to me. Why won't you now respond? The metrics are so low for sending just an email response. Create a video response for all of your interaction. Get their questions answered through video. Start building that trust, because it will take you time to build a following, but you have customers asking you questions right now. Respond to all of your, through a video response, and cheap plug, we've got an excellent tool for that, at least the Video Solutions. But, that's another place that I would start.
Well, just think about it. If every dealer who got every lead got a video response to the customer saying, "Thank you for considering our dealership to buy that vehicle. Thank you for taking the time." Yeah.
Hey, think about this. You're in the process of talking to somebody, you're trying to sell them a car. And in your communication process, you send them a link to a video testimonial from one of your happy customers. So now you're communicating with the guy and you're trying to build that relationship. You're trying to say, hey, look, I want you to do business with me because I'm really good. But you know what? Don't take my word for it. Hear what some of my happy customers have to say about me. And now they get a video of somebody, hey, I did business with Peter. He bought a car from me. He didn't try to hard pressure me. And the one secret I will tell you for everybody filming and doing testimonial videos, stay out of the video. Okay, no one wants to see your face. If you're going to do a video testimonial, it needs to be you behind the camera taking a picture of that customer, smiling and stuff like that. The likelihood of them sharing that video doubles if your ugly mug isn't in the picture with them. Nothing I hate worse than seeing the video of the guy, hi, this is Bob, and I'm here with him. I just sold him a new car. You know, who the hell wants people to share the video?
Peter, stop picking on Larry with all these ugliness jabs. It's not fair to him.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, we're going to have to talk about projection here, Dave. You know?
Well, Larry probably gets more dealers than anyone I've seen do a testimonial, and even salespeople who he's trained at dealerships he's hired. I mean, Larry, what advice do you have for car salespeople or dealers who are afraid of doing a video, maybe of one of their customers or prospects? Like, what advice do you have them?
I got multiple pieces of advice. First of all, as to what Dave and a few other people said, it's not just a video. You want to make sure anybody you contact, you want to leave them a voice message or a call, a text, a video, and an email, because people like to communicate a certain way. And no matter what your opinion is, they're going to want to be reached the way they want to be reached. And once they respond back to you, you know how. As far as how to get started, my suggestion would be watch some videos. And if you see stuff that you hate, avoid that. If you see stuff that you love, emulate it. Imitation, you know, is the sincerest form of flattery. What I do with the people, Nicole, I get them all the time. I ain't doing no video. Shut up. You're doing it. They pay me to come in here. I'm going to make it better, you dope. So what I do is I grab them, and despite Peter's admonitions to the contrary, I do both of us. I says, yep, I'm with this guy. He's great. Come on, man. Make it funny, make it light, and make it short. I'm on a zillion podcasts. I say something I hope is funny. I say something I hope is semi-intelligent, and then I shut my mouth. Kyle, I am so tired of being on Clubhouse. You rarely see me anymore because people talk for 12 minutes and say, and in conclusion, and then they talk for another 12 minutes. It's amazing how many people don't have an edit or pause button. What you have to do is show them it's not tricky, that the more, and by the way, you've seen it, Peter. I got like 60 Larry talks. They're all unedited. Turn the camera on and let's go. I don't mind stumbling. I don't mind saying the wrong word. It's human. Everybody in the world, Nicole, I deal with a lot of nerds. They're always seeking me out, figuring I can help promote them because I'm a salesman and they're a nerd. But even the nerds, when they're in trouble and want to talk to somebody, get frustrated when no one will come to the phone, or there's no phone number provided, or you get 5 phone prompts and then they hang up on you anyway. We are desperate for human contact. The people that said that on this program nailed it. Okay, I have no discernible skills, but for some odd reason, people like me, and I trade on being likable. I trade on the fact that you can reach me. I thank people. What the hell ever happened to an attitude of gratitude? Nicole, I don't know how much time you spent on the floor. You look pretty sharp, but I'll tell you if you don't know. Here's what salespeople talk about all day. It's not sex. It's not sports. It's that there's no business. And then when a car pulls up, 3 idiots go, he doesn't look like a buyer. Send the rookie out. With that kind of self-fulfilling, self-defeating prophecy, where are we going to go? And by the way, to solve all these damn problems, if we could teach people to prospect, to seek out the people from church, from synagogue, from mosque, the people that cut their hair, you know, going into parent-teacher night and say, boy, did you do a great job with my son or daughter. If you ever need a car, we have a special teacher appreciation program. And the real fun starts, Peter, when the teacher comes in and now you had to run to the desk and say, now let's come up with a program. We have about 5 seconds. They're here.
Fantastic. So we have time for final thoughts now. We're almost out of time. So let's start with Nicole, and then we'll go from there. Go ahead, Nicole. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. No amount of technology is going to replace that culture, human connection, any of that. To our whole conversation, I still love the feel, felt, found kind of moment, right? Relate to people. Here's where you're at. Here's what you need. Here's what I can provide. You can go down the street and meet 10 other people that are going to do it like me, but make that impression, build rapport, create a lifetime customer. Again, I'm a vendor, right? But I show up as a partner. And so I really, truly mean that. And I think that the more genuineness you're offering, the better the longer the game you're going to win.
Thanks for that. Kyle, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Connect with your customers. Provide them an experience, an amazing direct experience. We have an e-sign platform called Tap to Sign, and it's amazing. They can sign in person or remote. Buyers haven't changed. They expect trust and a great experience, and use all the tools you can to provide them that experience.
Thanks for that. Dave, final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm not going to speak to the expertise of the social media because that's not my expertise, but I will tell you we do have a huge problem with our website and our website traffic. Our time per session are going way down. Our conversion rate is going down. And it's because we're not advertising our vehicles in a way that the consumers want to see them. If you put a video on your car, the customer, if they watch a video on your site, they're staying on your site 4 times longer. If a stock number has a video on it, it's getting 50% more leads. We have shown people this over and over. And so, connect with them personally, but also give them the buying experience that they want. Show them a video of the inventory. Show them that they can trust this car. And then as everybody else has said, next, show them how trustable you are.
Fantastic. Mr. Jason.
Back in the day, we used to use a term called skating a customer. That's when you'd steal a customer and be really creative. I remember doing this to a friend of mine, but I ran across the lot yelling at this guy and saying, Mike, hey, it's me. And I was putting up my hands and trying to get his attention. And so all the other salespeople backed off. When he walked up, he goes, who's Mike? I go, I don't know. I thought you were another one of my customers. How can I help you today? So I skated that salesperson, and I thought it was really fun and cool. But, in today's environment with the social media and everything else like that, video is the new handshake. Video is the way to get out in front of customers, and you don't have to skate salespeople anymore. You can be there before the customer even hears about you. So if you put video out there first, that is the new handshake. AI, that's the new follow-up engine, and trust is the whole new game. So focus on those things and you're going to do well.
Fantastic. Peter.
My biggest thing is if you haven't tried video, just try it. I mean, you had some great panel members here giving a lot of great advice. I mean, you got some guys out here who have been doing a phenomenal job with this. Larry's been doing it with people on a regular basis. Just try it. Go out there, take a video. You know what? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I promise you, if you try it and you try it consistently, you're going to see an improvement. It's going to set you apart from other people. Pick a platform that you're happy with. Start posting some videos up there. Content is king. Just start creating some stuff. Your following will grow. Your exposures are going to grow, and you're going to sell more units and have more happy customers.
Peter, I hate to do it really quick. I don't like plugging my companies or anything like that, but 50% of adults have not ever posted a video on social media or anything like that. If you don't want to do videos, give me a call. I'll make you an avatar, and I can send out 1,000 videos of you every single time, and every message will be personalized.
Fantastic. Larry, I know phone calls are a good tip, but what about video? What do you think?
Well, 2 things. First of all, I would appreciate Dave, Jason, Kyle, and Nicole, if you'd reach out to me through LinkedIn. You're all great. I'd love to have more contact with you. We can do some networking.
Yes, sir.
Second, I would appreciate if every dealer watching this show ignores the advice we've all given. This way your performance will be horrible and you'll have to call me up for recruiting and training.
Thanks for watching. Have a great Memorial Day. And of course, check out AI video show next week. If you are interested in AI and video and how that works, you can learn live. And of course, thanks for taking the time today. Appreciate it. And special thank you to everyone on the panel for taking the time on Memorial Day. Have a great
Memorial
day.
Day. Freedom is not free.
Exactly.
God bless America.
God bless America.
God
Bye
bless
for now.
all.
Thank you for helping the industry get better today live.